Hello, hello, it's time for another cut test with the TRM Nerd. Holy Nerd, to be exact, because it has a hole in the blade for deployment, unlike earlier versions. This is a small knife. This is my third TRM purchase, and I am just as happy with it as the others. I almost have all the TRMs. I just need the Neutron 2, and then I guess there's the new one as well. But I'm getting there. Here's a little size comparison with the large Sebenza, just so you can really see how small it is. It's quite small. A little bit smaller, in fact, than the Spyderco Little Native. Kind of a similar small knife with a choke up spot kind of deal. Factory edge, that is very sharp, as have been all TRMs I've bought. I have been using this thing since I got it, but I did strap it back up to where it was when I first got it. So, real nice and sharp. And let's see how it cuts. I think we're going to be a little surprised at how well it does for being such a small knife. But let's find out. Using the choke up spot, I can get a full grip on this knife. If you have much larger hands than I do, then you may not be able to get a full grip on it. This is the triple thickness cardboard here that we're cutting through. We're skipping the normal thickness stuff because I don't have any right now. We're going right to the heavy duty shit, and we're blazing through it, man. Granted, we are going with the grain here, but still, this is triple thickness cardboard, and this little blade ain't having much of a problem at all. The blade stock thickness is actually the exact same as the other TRMs that I have, the Shadow and Atom. Same blade stock thickness, which on normal knives you might think, why would they use the same blade stock thickness on the small knife as the big knife? But their large knives have very, very thin blade stock already, so there's no real need to go even smaller on their small knife. Blade stock thicknesses on TRMs are, what was it? I think 0.08, I believe? Yeah, I think 0.08. A couple long cuts, just to show you. Yeah. Really nice. This is a sheep's foot blade shape, so we have a lower tip, but we do have actually a little bit, almost a little bit more belly than you would usually see on a kind of a more classic sheep's foot, I guess. So it's kind of nice. You'll see here in a minute that it's really easy to do cuts on a flat surface with that little bit of belly. But, draw cuts, utility cuts like these right here are going to be really good too. Kind of a really versatile blade shape, almost best of both worlds. Holding this knife in a pinch grip is really the primary grip that I'm going to be using this knife with, and I think most people will be using it with. That was a weird couple sentences. You know what I'm saying. It's early. So we're doing the utility cuts on this triple thickness stuff, which I don't usually do. Usually I move to the single for these cuts. But it's really handling it well, man. It really is. The pinch grip feels comfortable. It's cutting through cleanly. I don't notice any major hot spots so far. The clip is sitting off the surface of the scale pretty significantly. But it's not, I feel it as I'm gripping the knife, pushing through the cardboard. But it wouldn't be a hot spot. It's just something that I felt. Now, keep in mind, this is really, really thin, flimsy paper, so that's why it's having kind of an issue. But trust me, it's very sharp. Here's some thicker stuff. So it's holding an edge very well. By the way, this is MagnaCut. I forgot to say that. This is in MagnaCut, which is a nice kind of, change of pace from the other TRMs I have, which are in 20 CV. Now, let me tell you something. Man, the 20 CV in my TRM Atom and Shadow have been just incredible. you know. You kind of forget how good 20CV can be when you keep getting 20CV that's probably much softer than it should be. I mean, it's crazy. It's wild to see 20CV at its full potential, or very close to its full potential. It's amazing, man. Those edges last for freaking ever. It's nuts, man. It really makes you think. You see 20CV blade steel on an overseas made knife, and you think, oh, that's awesome. I'm getting some good steel for my money. It's not always the case. So, judging from how they do with their 20CV, I'm assuming that their MagnaCut is going to also be optimized as well. And from my little bit of testing here, it sure seems like it. Did very well with the leather glove test. How about some of this thick wall rubber tubing? Here's where that little bit of belly is going to really come in handy for that kind of rocking motion. It's destroying this rubber tubing, man. For not having much blade length, it's really, really getting through it easy. This is a super handy little knife. As far as being versatile, I believe this will be a little bit more useful even than the little native. Just because the little native, well, if you have the little native Warncliffe, which is the one I have, the other one might be about the same as far as useful blade shape. But I believe this blade shape here on the Nerd is going to be a little bit more useful than the Warncliffe on the little native. How about some bungee cord material? Really, really did well with this one too. If you watch my videos, oftentimes when you cut through this stuff with an edge that's not very sharp, it leaves like one or two strands of that nylon that's surrounding the rubber part, and it leaves like a couple strands that cling on. But this is just completely cleaning up the cut. I don't know what that means. It's cutting very cleanly. And we still have a nice sharp edge, man. Now, one thing to be aware of if you end up buying one of these, they do, they run on washers, phosphor bronze washers, and not bearings. So you're not really, you're not gonna get the drop shut, super, bearing feeling type of action. When I first got it, the reverse flick was a little stiff. I didn't mess with the pivot. I just used it and broke it in, and now it's much, much better. I can get a nice, satisfying reverse flick out of it now. So keep that in mind. It may be stiff at first, but it will break in nicely. So we're cutting this really thick 2-inch strap. Obviously, it's not going to go through the whole thing in one go because the blade is not as long as the strap itself. But we cut one side, we flip it around, we cut the other side, and it did really well. Went through it pretty easily. Let's do one more just for the fun of it. Let's roll up this old shop rag. Do some cuts on this puppy. Pretty freaking clean. To me, this knife is in that category of small knives that feel bigger than they really are. There's quite a few knives in that kind of category. I feel like I should do a video on those, because I have a few. The Little Native is another one. The Mini Sheepdog is one. There's a few others, and this nerd is absolutely in that group. Going back to the magazine paper just to kind of see, and we're still cutting it, baby. I mean, yeah, it's real flimsy and kind of hard to get it cut, but once you get it, the knife is cutting through it very easily. So I am satisfied with this MagnaCut, absolutely. This knife cost me $200. They do make full titanium versions of this. They're more expensive and look really nice, but those were all sold out by the time I got to the website during the drop, and I couldn't have really afforded that one right now anyways, so I'm pretty happy with the micarta. It's called Candy Cane micarta, and I think it's going to patina and darken up really nice. Let's do some stropping and see how quickly this MagnaCut comes back. It's MagnaCut, so I already know it's going to strap back really nicely and quickly. But I'll demonstrate it for y'all. Let's go right to the magazine paper. Oh yeah! Look at that baby! Look at that baby slice. Oh yeah, that's sharp. There you go, man. This is a really versatile, very easy to carry, lightweight EDC knife. You know, I could get away with this as being my only carry, my only knife that I have, my primary carry. I could get away with it, you know. On my day-to-day, there aren't a whole lot of tasks where I need a longer edge, longer blade. Oftentimes, it's helpful to have a longer blade, like with breaking down the cardboard and, you know, some other things. But I could absolutely do it with this knife. Easy. But I've been carrying it as kind of a backup, you know, secondary carry, and I've been really loving it. So that's about it. If you want one of these, keep an eye on the TRM website. Follow them on Instagram. They always announce when they're going to be dropping stuff, and they do fairly regularly. And that's it. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like the video before you leave, and I love you very much. Adios.